time to knock some things off your bucket list. First up, travel the world. If you've always wanted to visit Hong Kong or vacation in the Swiss Alps and wondered what it was like, well, Jeanette, Yvette, and Tina got the scoop for you. These Jet Setting Divas are always at some fun and exotic place experiencing the best of what life has to offer. And each week, they'll tell you all about it. These ladies are always high-flying loads of fun.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
And I'm Yvette.
And I'm Tina, and we are the Jet Setting Divas. Hey, ladies, what's been going on?
A lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah. Wow, Yvette, you know, let's dive right into it. You've been the last person to travel. How was that experience?
My travel was short. You know, I went out to Houston. We live in Dallas, and I went out to Houston, and I flew back to Dallas on this week. I flew back to Dallas, and I was concerned because I kept on seeing on the media, on the news, that flights were being delayed and you know, flights were being canceled. And I was like, am I gonna be able to get back home? What in the world is going on? You know, I was really concerned, and I was like, okay. And I even got an email from the airline stating to try to change my time frame, that, you know, I was going to be leaving, and they was offering up to $450 to change your time frame. And I was actually in Houston, and my family is in Houston. So I was like, okay, well, I can change my time frame. It don't matter, because it's not like I was like off somewhere where, you know, I would have to go and get a hotel room or sleep in the airport, you know, or whatever. So I was like, I can do it. And they said that we will call your name when you get to the gate. So I got to the Houston Hobby Airport, and they didn't call nobody's name. So it must have been okay. So I was like, I can use that money, because, you know, Jet Setting Divas always going somewhere. So I was like, I can use that to book our next trip or whatever. They didn't call not one person.
That is crazy.
So,
that probably was
actually was on time. It was on time. And then it was kind of crazy, because you know how it was a short flight. It's only 45-minute flight from Houston to Dallas. So they took my carry-on. You know how they take your carry-on, because it was just a little eagle flight or whatever. They took my carry-on, and they took everybody's carry-on. They didn't let nobody take a carry-on onto the plane.
Really?
No. They took it in valet. They call it the valet. You know, they go ahead and just put it on before you get on the plane or whatever.
Right.
And flew here to Dallas, 45 minutes. Do y'all believe that my plane got here at like 7:30? We didn't get off of that plane until 8:30.
What?
We did not get off of that plane until 8:30. The plane was it took us forever to taxi to the gate.
Really?
And I was like, what in the world? And then when we got to the gate, there was a plane in our space. So we had to. What
these air traffic controllers are doing. I mean, because that sounds like that's happened before too.
Yeah. So evidently they landed on the wrong runway. Because it took us forever. We had to travel all around wherever we was going. Got there, a plane was in the spot, and we had to sit there, I swear, for about 4 until that plane could move out the way. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Wow, that is something. You know, these airlines need to really, tighten up their protocols and their processes, because it seems like this is so common. You know, we're hearing flights being delayed, flights being canceled, people being stranded for days while they're trying to, go, for quick trips, missing work. You know, everybody don't have that convenience of just sitting in the airport for hours and hours, or sitting on a runway. Who knows what someone needed to do? Maybe they were going to a funeral, or going to a service, or going to something where that 45 minute, that extra hour is really, did something to their life.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to mention names, whatever. But
Yeah.
the airline from Houston to, it was crazy. And then once you got off the plane, you had to wait until they get your bag. You know how you wait in the
So that's another 30, 40 minutes.
Right. And the guy, it was only one person working to do this. One, and all he was doing was getting the bags and setting them. You can see him just setting them there instead of putting them on the little thing or whatever you call it or whatever to send them up. He would just set them there. And then they had a man working there, and you can tell he was frustrated. And he was like, why is he not putting the bags on? Like, as he come, he should just put them on there instead of like, just putting them on the ground. And I'm just like sitting there, and my husband was sitting there waiting for me. And he was like, I can't sit here and wait. It was like over an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Before he can get me. It was just like crazy.
I would say what we need to do is give people tips on what they can do to make their travel more efficient during these hard times.
I mean, what can you do? What can you do?
One thing that you can do, you have options as far as traveling. I know I like to fly and I prefer to fly. And I know I can get home within 45 minutes if I fly. It takes me about 4.5 hours if I drive. But I do know if I drive, I'm going to get there on time. So what people may have to do if they're trying to go somewhere and they know they have to be there for a wedding or for just a one-time experience, because I know I saw many people had missed their kids. One lady missed her daughter's wedding. Her and her husband missed their daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
You need to be somewhere and you can't afford to not be there. And it's that important. You may have to have alternate plans because yours were flexible, but sometimes people's aren't. And, we were even caught up in the same situation where our flight was canceled just a few hours before we got on.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on.
But there's so many other things. There are other things, especially like, people are making commotions on planes. People I've seen like in the last week, planes have to divert somewhere because they have to handle some passenger issue where they, doing something to the flight attendant or passengers fighting. So it's been diversions that people couldn't even, you got on the plane, you're on your way there, and now you gotta get diverted somewhere else. So what could you do?
It's crazy.
So you can definitely
this week, what did we say this week? There was like some fights going on planes.
Oh yeah, somebody brutalized a flight attendant on one of the flights.
Yeah. So
and they had to divert the whole plane over so they can arrest that person. So
they actually stopped here in Dallas. What were they going to Denver?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. I think they were going to Denver. And they had to stop here in Dallas because somebody was going crazy on a plane.
Yeah.
There's also a big thing on flights where they're telling people that if you're going to be flying internationally, that you may have a 4 to 8 hour wait at the airport. I know we've flown internationally and we have had maybe 2-3 hour wait, but they're saying maybe 4+. I know I'm going to go to Mexico in December, so I'll see how that goes then for the weekend.
Yeah.
But
and then we even had that experience with just people internationally knowing policy. We were way out in Turks, and every one of us got a different next step for once we got off the plane. One was saying, your bag is going to meet, you got to go pick your bag up. So no one told me anything about picking up a bag. Then you have to go and. So it's like these processes that their staff really needs to have a better understanding of what the policies are, because that could have caused a lot of confusion. They had people standing in line that didn't need to stand in line to grab a bag, to go and check through customs.
They weren't even keeping up with their own protocol.
What was it, Jeanette? They had to. You had a special check-in bag.
They took my bag up to the side. The guy,
and then they told me once I got to Florida, because we had a layover in Florida, you need to go and get your bag and check it again. And then Tina, they didn't tell you anything.
Nothing. So that's why I said they checked my bag all the way to Dallas, and they were like, no. Because, but I guess, you keep in mind that internationally, once we got back in the US, then we had to go back through customs. So we just had another connecting flight to go back home. So, but that person should have known and should have said, hey, because once you get in the US, you need to check your bag. And immediately we just handed the bag back over to them. We just really rolled it off the cart and put it on the, you know, off the conveyor belt and rolled it back through to go into the next plane. Yeah, it's been a mess because as you see, people are not, you know, people are not coming to work. You know, flights are being canceled. Southwest or American Airlines, they pretty much, you know, they said weather conditions. It's gonna be just, it's gonna be a mess. Because if we think about this year, it snowed in Texas, where it has never done before. I mean, so you have to plan ahead. You can't, that 2-hour window. You really got to add on. You know, you almost have to do some, like, you know, defensive traveling. You know, what if
they want to get people ready now? So they're telling them, if you're going internationally, plan for 4 to 8 hours. I don't know if I'm going to plan for 4 for Mexico, but I know I'll at least be there maybe like 3.5, 3.5, just to give myself some extra time.
Yeah.
So
and then you have to have your
do everything that you can do on your end. You know, just like Yvette, you were going with the flow. You know, you can't get upset. You know, if you work from home, take your laptop with you when you travel, because you may have to work from the airport. Everybody just needs to have a backup plan and how they're going to handle the situation if they get stuck somewhere or if they can't get home.
What were you saying, Yvette?
Flights canceled.
No, I'm saying, you know, like, just like what Jeanette is saying, you never know. You might just be like, oh, well, I got my vacation time, you know, I'm not working or whatever. What if you get stranded there? Take your laptop, because you don't know. You might have to log in and work.
Yeah. And I would even say make sure that you have a credit card that you can access, that, you know, that in case you need to get, you know, a car or a hotel or food or whatever. You need to make sure that you cannot travel with just enough money these days. You have to be prepared that you may have to get a hotel, because you see that they canceled all those flights and people had to go jump and get in a rental car because they wanted to hurry up and make it to wherever they were going. You gotta have money and a credit card, and you can't just, when you see people sleeping in the hotel, sleeping in the airport, you know, that's because they have no other options. And the airlines are not playing. You know, they used to give those vouchers for, you remember they get a voucher for hotels and say, okay, when we messed up, nothing.
So you're right. That's a great point, that when you're traveling, you need to have extra money set aside. You need to have an extra credit card. We know American Express works with, and I just recently got an American Express because I know it works really well when you're traveling. You never know. We even considered getting another flight to connect to make the flight to Turks and Caicos. So you just never know what you have to do, especially if you're going somewhere and it's a special occasion, a newborn baby, a grandchild, a wedding or whatever. You want to be there. So you just might go with you. Spend extra money.
You think about funerals. I mean, I know a lot of people have to travel for funerals. That is not something that you can make up. You missed it. You know, if you had to be there, or you are the person of contact, you missed it. You missed it. And it's travel today is very gonna have to be really strategic. You know, what works best for you? Yes. What can you afford? You know, so I definitely believe I definitely see that.
I've learned just from going to Turks and Caicos, I don't like layovers. I just want to fly straight there. Wherever I'm going, I want to fly straight there. I don't like these layovers, because if I got to collect my bag and sit there and wait for the plane, for the next flight, oh goodness. It's just
have you noticed that a lot of flights are putting stops now? I've been looking at flights to go to Vegas and flights to go to New York, and I have never gotten on most airlines. They usually have lots of nonstop options. A lot of them have stops now. I don't know if that's because of having enough crew people to
that's probably what it is,
or if it's they're consolidating these flights. But I have noticed, and this is just me looking this week. Every airline, everything had a stop, and it's like 5-6 hours. I don't have 5-6 hours to sit around, getting from airport to airport to get to my destination, because I'm doing weekend travel. I'm not trying to do, a week.
I would say too that one thing that I would have done when you're going somewhere, I would look at what the price of food is where you're going to, because I thought Hawaii was expensive, but Turks was unreasonably expensive. So
Hawaii was cheap.
expensive. So what I would say is another thing: if you're on a specific budget, try to plan out the days that you may be eating out. If you have a kitchen in the place where you're staying at, what are you going to eat and how much it'll all cost, just from a budget perspective, because things are changing now with traveling.
Even what advice would you give?
It's like what Jeanette just said. I'm like, when you think about it, ladies, I'm like, Hawaii was cheap.
It was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but Mexico is like balling on a budget. Oh, those other ones were like
Mexico is awesome. Mexico is awesome.
You can get there within 2 hours, so why not go there? You know, and you can live like a baller on a budget. There.
But you know, Mexico been having some violence. Mexico been having some violence.
They are having some violence. And I think
we have violence at our own. Like, we can walk outside and go down the street. We have violence in our own neighborhoods.
Why do we need to go travel to get some?
Well, what I would say is that I don't think that's the norm now in Mexico. And I know I'm not concerned about going back. I know I'm going to be going back in a few weeks for a little weekend trip.
I would not go.
You said
a lot of people. I've seen people saying, "Oh, are you going to go to Mexico because they're having so much violence and they killing people?" I would not.
Yeah, because I have heard that people are desperate.
I would go too. Oh, you're saying you would go?
Yeah, I would go.
I would go.
Yeah. But they're saying that people are desperate. Those people, the tourist industry is big there, and a lot of these people are not getting they're not making the money they were making before, and it's tough.
Now, I would say to be more watchful, keep your eye out, watch more. You may not want to stay out as late.
Watch your purse and baggage, because you remember we had someone that said that people were getting robbed on the bus and things like that. So you have
maybe you shouldn't even take a bus. So there's safety precautions you can take, but still going to Mexico.
Pickpocketers are not on a bus. Yeah. They had pickpocketers and everything.
That's anywhere. I'm just saying there's safety precautions, but I'm not going to let them stop me from going to Mexico and having a good time, because it's really one of the best trips. We have so many options of places. We can be there in 2 hours. It's very affordable. So I always tell people to do that.
And use the safes that they have at the resorts or the hotel. A lot of people don't tend to use them, but you know what? You need to really lock your valuables up, when you're not in the room. It's definitely great to, to trust everyone, but when you're not in the room and you have something of value, there's a safe usually in every resort or every hotel.
Right. Any safety precautions that you can take. Coming in a little earlier, like when we went to Bali, we had some of our driver would look out for us. Anybody that you can work, people, if you're at a resort or just going, a lot of times people go to I know, Tina, you went a few years ago to a birthday party at a resort in Mexico, and you said you didn't even leave the resort. So in those situations, it's not as risky as if you're out and going around and doing things. But I think crime happens everywhere, so I'm not going to let it stop me from traveling to Mexico.
No, because crime can happen right in your backyard, at your house, and down the street. You can go and get in your car and drive 2 miles from wherever you live, and there's crime.
That's probably an anomaly. And I'm always going to say, tourism is a business, and tourism, some people depend on it, and us traveling is hopefully supporting some family or allowing someone to, work so that they can support and take care of their family. So, we definitely don't want to not travel. We just have to definitely be careful traveling. Ladies.
We've had a great time talking. We talked about traveling being safety. We talked about waiting at the airport for 4 to 8 hours if you're going to be going internationally. Yvette told us about her story where she got stuck coming back from Houston. What else, Tina?
Yeah, we just talked. Just get prepared, because the holidays are coming, and I don't see it getting any better. I definitely believe that you need to be ready for, this defensive. I'm gonna call it defensive traveling, because you definitely have to be ready. You need to be on guard. You need to be prepared to make changes at the drop of a hat. So definitely, I would have to say that you plan ahead, and definitely don't, the night you go to sleep and pack your bags and ready to go, make sure you got all the alerts on so that you can get the notification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put those apps on your phone and
Exactly.
text messages.
Absolutely.
But
and,
ladies,
then look for your friends too to give you a call or text you and tell you stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, ladies, it's been good. I know we've been talking and we could go on and on and on, but you know, I can't wait to hear about your trips, things that you're going to be doing for the holidays. And I definitely know that we'll talk again next week.
Well, ladies, I'm Jeanette.
And I'm Yvette.
And I'm Tina. And we are the Jet Setting Divas.
Jet Setting Divas got some holiday experiences coming on, so watch and look and stay tuned.
All righty.
Tune in next Thursday when the Jet Setting Divas will tell you about another fun destination spot that you'll want to visit. For more on their excursions, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
If you're like me, family is the most important thing in your life, but talking about finances with your family can be a challenge. This is a photo of me, my mom, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. Every lesson I learned about putting money away for a rainy day, I learned from them. That's why I'm moderating an AARP panel on Tuesday, November 9th at 6:30 to talk about saving money for retirement no matter what stage you're in. So whether you're Gen Z, a millennial, Gen X, or a boomer, join me on November 9th. We'll have a panel of common folks like you and me. We'll work together so we can find solutions. To sign up for this free event, log on to aarp.org/MN events. This event is sponsored by AARP Minnesota, Black Women's Wealth Alliance, Bridge Makers, and Youth Prize.